hello, hello. Where's that button? There we are. Welcome to Livestream. My streaming software, Streamlabs OBS, updated, so I was looking for the button because they're in different spots. Let me adjust the webcam down a little bit. Cool. So today we're finishing up, we have the other yellow ink from last week that Aiden sent me, and then the other one is, I have it written down, it's we're returning to, I know a couple weeks ago I said, I'm like, we're in the midst of all the shimmer inks. And then I did a bunch of non-shimmer inks because I just got a bunch of new inks in. And that's what I do, is I prioritize what I get first. What I get in new and then go back. So now we're going back to the shimmer inks. That pile of Diamine. So we're going to do this Monteverde yellow, which looks excellent, and Diamine Cocoa Shimmer. Hello, hello, Rewell. Newly modded Rewell. After some instance in another person's live stream, ink reviewer, in another pen person's live stream last week, I was like, I should probably have at least one mod. So I did. So don't piss off Becky. Yeah, she has a mighty sword. It's pretty awesome. And Overwatch tag, so she knows how to like use the weapons. Yeah, so we'll have Cocoa Shimmer. It's not coming across as well how like shiny it is with the glittery, but yeah. So we're gonna do the Monteverde Mango Mousse first. So I need my pens. They're over here. I am very amused that I still see on the screen that there's no one that I got a viewer count of 0 when Becky's right there. So that's fun when like the Twitch API doesn't connect with like, I don't know, there's disconnect somewhere in the system. And it's amusing. Okay. We got the Parkers. Cool. So I'm going to get over and get the ink, a little sample vial. Aiden has really nice handwriting. It's very clean and precise. You can read it in the tinies. Yes, so yeah, when Aiden and I traded samples, I saw it and I was like, oh, you have one of the new Monteverde like cake inks. I want a sample of that. And then he was like, cool. And then he did. Thank you, phone, for letting me know that I'm live on Twitch. I was well aware of that already. I did not see this because it just kept... The ink was just falling down out of the converter. So I was like, there's a seal problem there. I did not seat that correctly. I'm still going to have to decide after this week because we're getting back to the shimmer inks. What I want to do, because I learned doing 3 shimmer inks in a row that it's a bit much for my pens. This one's fine, but this one especially, but also this one, can start getting clogged up just because of all the residual shimmer in the feeds. And I clean them between, but I don't like have an ultrasonic cleaner and all that. This is the only one where the feed comes out easily, which is why that one doesn't have a problem. So I might alternate between shimmer and non-shimmer inks. Like instead of doing just like all the shimmer inks in a row, I might do 1 shimmer ink, 1 non-shimmer ink, so I give them a break. And that'll result in some of the non-shimmer inks having shimmer particles in them initially. I could probably scribble those out real quick when I initially fill them. But like that's like a nice cleaning thing to do. Haven't decided yet, but that's probably for the best because otherwise I have a feeling that I didn't get an accurate read on the flow of Diamine Inferno Orange. I don't really want to redo it because I've already done the scans and all that for that, but I might like park that and then revisit it at some point, just like to get a better read on it, because it was just like there was a lot of flow issues, especially in this pen, because this pen just struggled. Okay. Let's move the swatch over. I'm still like seriously like 0 viewers. Becky's right there. It's just amusing. Okay. So the article we have today is, if you weren't aware, the Atlanta or Georgia in general, is a film powerhouse, and a lot of Disney films a lot of the Marvel movies here. So we're gonna yes. So we're gonna like they're apparently the studio that they film everything in was sold. And so I'm gonna write an article about how that sale might affect, ye old Marvel movies, because I'm a nerd and I care about that. I don't know what it is about mango, because like Troublemaker also came out with an ink that says that's mango, and I think there's yet another ink that's mango themed. It's all relatively recent, maybe because people are just now catching on to like the bright colors, but also like Mark Bacchus, when he does his fabulous ink work, one of his test phrases is mango chutney. So I don't know, mango's catching on in the pen community. I love mangoes. Loved mangoes ever since I've tried first one when I was a kid. Because I had a thing, I was like, I'm gonna try all the weird fruits, and it's like weird fruits for like a Midwestern white girl. So mango counted as weird. But then because of that, I knew about all these fruits that were delicious that no one else did, and they were like, and people didn't want the mango things. So I got all the mango things options at restaurants and stuff. Now mango is much more widespread and known, but yeah, 20 years ago, like I said, white girl Midwest was very uncommon. Mango shrimp. I actually haven't had any mango shrimp. I don't think I could have mango shrimp without laughing now. So far I'm saying Monteverde nailed it with this. This looks like mangoes. Like, it looks like mango flesh. At least Tommy mangoes. I know enough about mangoes to know there's a whole bunch of different types of mangoes, but I do not know. I've only eaten like 2 kinds, so I do not know how their flesh colors differ. So as per usual, there's some color funkiness with this camera. It looks lighter and here and more blue than it actually is. This camera just likes to emphasize blues a lot. Yeah, that's the thing that happens. So it is more yellow, but it is harder to read. Shockingly, even though this is a touch more orange than the Yellow Ochre Von France, that one's like easier to read for some reason. It's strange. You would think that making it like that, giving it that touch darker edge would make it easier to read, but it doesn't. I'm very confused. You know what this is reminding me of? This is reminding me of Apache Sunset. Now, I had a bottle of Apache Sunset years ago before I started swatching, and I sold it before I started swatching, so I don't have a swatch to compare it with. But I can tell you, it reminds me of Apache Sunset. Now, Apache Sunset is known for its crazy shading. However, my experience with Apache Sunset was it was just sort of more to yellow and it was dry. When using it in a regular pen, you needed like special equipment to make it look cool. And this is what it looked like when you just used it in a regular pen. Yes, if you want a more consistent color, because Apache Sunset can vary wildly by batch. So this reminds me of my bottle of Apache Sunset. I don't know about your bottle of Apache Sunset, whoever's watching this. Maybe like Becky or, you know, someone later. But yeah. Also, that way you can also get it in a smaller bottle because Nathan refuses to make Noodler's ink in smaller bottles, which I know America is, from what I've read just on people that know more about these things and market research, America is very much about bang for your buck, like bulk value. I personally like having a bunch of different inks, so I actually like smaller bottles so I can get more than a sample, but not enough that like I am just drowning in ink. So I go for more the Japanese, I guess. Apparently, like the Japanese and East Asian markets really like the smaller bottles. So if you don't want a giant bottle, because Noodler's only comes in those 3-ounce bottles of a color like Apache Sunset, which that makes sense. If you don't want 3 whole ounces of like a yellow ink, I understand not wanting that. Then you can get the 30 ml of Monteverde. Yeah, no, it's even doing like the going to orange and red shading thing like Apache Sunset. in a wetter ink. So let it be known, Mango Mousse is a better behaved, can get it in smaller quantities Apache Sunset dupe. Yeah, that is, hopefully this will come through in the scans, but that is noticeably more orange. And you can actually see that here, it's noticeably more orange. The shading probably isn't like quite as intense as Apache Sunset, but like I'd take that for more consistency and being able to buy a smaller volume of it. Also, it's fun. It's named after a dessert. I don't know. Or, so like, if you don't want a 3-ounce bottle of Apache Sunset, you want a smaller thing, you want something that's more consistent, maybe you don't like Nathan's Politics. Whatever. This is a good alternative for you if you like the color. I'm turning the viewer count on and off again to see if that changes anything. Nope. Okay. Just weird disconnect with the Twitch API. Fun times. No. I X'd out of a window that I didn't want to X out of. I was trying to go to that tab. Sadness. I was trying to see your emoji, Redwell, and I clicked out of it so it, because Twitch doesn't save anything, it reset it. Make me sad. Oh wait, I can see it now. Oh, it's a burb. This is why I wanted to look at it, because it's where the window I have the chat up. It's sometimes hard to see emojis. I can read the text fine, but there we are. Oh, what is this? I say I'm a comic book nerd and I follow this, but I don't follow the news that closely. Apparently, they're doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a film, and I am excited for that. It's the Sam and Bucky buddy movie that we need, that we've needed since Civil War. I don't care because, again, we still need it. Yeah, no, the Disney streaming thing is going to be one of those things that I tap in and out of. I do that with Funimation right now. Like when I want to go on an anime binge, I subscribe to Funimation for a month or two, catch up on all my anime, mainly One Piece, and then go back to Netflix. I would subscribe and unsubscribe from Netflix, but I share that account with other family members, so I can't just cancel it on them. But yeah, so I might just do Disney for a month and watch all the Marvel things. But yeah, this is why I'm a big fan of hard copies of things, because that way you're not subject to the whim of streaming companies. And I specify hard copies because sometimes, because I have bought seasons of Doctor Who on Amazon that are no longer valid because they only play on Amazon's video player, which they discontinued a couple years ago. And it's just damn it, I wasted my money. That taught me, buy the DVDs. So I have almost all of Sherlock on DVD. I don't have season 4 because I didn't like season 4 and don't have no desire to rewatch it. But that's just me. I might buy it eventually just for completionist's sake. It's also easier to sell hard copies if you don't want them anymore. I have a copy of Thor the Dark World that I could get a few bucks off of eBay. Probably? Not sure. Or sell at a garage sale or something. You can't sell digital copies of goods. You're stuck with them. Yeah. I'm not that upset about the Doctor Who stuff because it was like seasons. It was mainly the Matt Smith seasons, actually, so maybe I am upset about that because that includes like. Oh no, it's only season 6 and 7, so it only is some of it because I watched season 5 on like DVD Netflix. Yeah. And I have owned seasons 1 through 4 of New Who on iTunes, which I don't even have installed on my computer anymore, but I think I can still play the files. I'm not sure. I might need to just like rebuy those. Oh, happy SF photos. Where are they being posted is the question. Oh yeah, because today's like the first like, I guess, real-ish day of the show. I mean, it starts tomorrow. But a lot of people, because it's San Francisco, so it, for a lot of people, at least on the East Coast, takes a while to get there. Fly in today. Though if I were to do San Francisco again, I would either do, because last year I went to San Francisco. Gotcha. Cool. I'm glad Ralph is there. I'm glad Ralph, like people can now physically check on Ralph because he's at the show. But yeah, I went to San Francisco last year and I did the fly in Thursday, fly out Monday thing. And that's what taught me that I either need to like spend a week there and make a vacation out of it that includes the pen show, or fly in Friday, fly out Sunday. Because like I actually didn't really enjoy that extra buffer time. It just felt like Thursday was nice if it weren't for the flight delays I experienced last year. But Sunday night, because I never done Sunday night in a pen show, it was way more dead than I was anticipating. People were just exhausted, and I'm like, I stayed to the extra night to like hang out with people, and the people were gone or like leaving for the most part. So I was like, okay, just fly out the red eye Sunday night. If I do San Francisco again, I'm either gonna fly in Monday morning, so like get an early flight here from here, fly out Monday morning, then fly out Sunday night, take a red eye back, or just do it for a whole week. Yeah, look how pretty that is. Then we have a Rhodia. But also, it was good for teaching me, like, I realized that for, like, all pen shows, like, it's not just San Francisco, it's just, like, pen shows are dead on Sunday afterwards. And it's kind of fun to come in on Thursday, but it's, like, not that much extra to worth spending the extra, it's not worth spending the extra money for the extra night, for me. Which is why, for Triangle, I drove up Friday morning and drove back Sunday night. It was fine. Chicago's probably good enough. I say this as someone who has never been to Chicago Oh no, I've been to Chicago. I lived in Chicago, but that was when I was like 4. So I haven't been to the Chicago Pen Show. And it's at a horrible time for me work schedule wise because I teach and I do STEM, and that is the weekend before AP exams. That is my busiest time of year. So it just like going to like that would be losing out on so much money by taking a vacation by going out of town that weekend. It's ridiculous. I did that last year, not for the Chicago Pen Show because my brother graduated college that weekend. So that was like once, and like compared this to like I just kept seeing all the money I was losing by not being in town, and I was like, nope, can't afford to do that. So maybe if I get a job not in academia or not in like K-12, then it's more possible. Yeah, San Francisco's a little bit more possible, I'm learning this year, because last year I was thinking maybe I was like I did kind of lose money last year, but not really. But I was also new last year tutoring, so I didn't have as many students. But this year I was like, oh no, I'm gonna lose students. But it turns out that this is kind of a lull weekend. Like schools have been going on here in Georgia for like a week or two now, but it's not enough such that like the kids are realizing, oh no, I'm failing, I need a tutor. That'll be in another like 2-3 weeks that'll happen. And actually the SAT like subject tests are this weekend. And so I'm like I did my last tutoring today for that prep. Like it's done off the table. And so therefore it's like a good lull weekend. But I didn't realize that till this week, like till like this week. So it was a little late. Plus it's expensive. But like now I know, because that was one of the things I was worried about. Besides just the cost of San Francisco, was like that seems like that's a bad weekend because that's right when school starts. But now I know it's like early enough in the school year that's not that big of a deal. And it seems to nicely coincide with that SAT date. So that means because it's the weekend of, not the weekend before, it works. The only bad part about the San Francisco timing is that it's the week before Dragon Con. And I'm not going to Dragon Con this year, but I kind of want to go next year. And I don't know if I could do those two events back to back. Like just physically, because they're both so exhausting. Though I think San Francisco was more exhausting for me last year for like other reasons, like me taking more care of myself than the actual pen show itself. Dragon Con is just exhausting. Just flat out. So I don't know. Glad to see at least MooBot's working. So something's linked up with the API correctly. Because sometimes MooBot needs some shutting on and off again. Okay, shitty paper time. The past Monteverde inks have not fared so well. Where was I in the article about the Avengers? Oh no. The people that own the Marvel studio now are the same people that own Chick-fil-A, aka the homophobic bastards. I did not know that. Oh man. And apparently it's not like they now own it. Apparently it was as partnership between um, Pinewood and the Cathy family, which owns Chick-fil-A. And now, just because Pinewood pulled their stake, now it's only the family. So up until now, all these Marvel movies shooting in Georgia were making money for the homophobic bastards. Oh boy. Oh boy. They're a big family here in Georgia, though. So it shouldn't be that surprising that that's where, like, that they partially own something big like this, but still, it's just like, oh wait, pen ASMR. I love that snap when I cap it, but it makes uncapping it obnoxious because it doesn't come off well. And this pen has a tendency, if I uncap it too aggressively, it'll shoot an ink blob across the room. So I've learned to gingerly uncap it. Okay. That actually doesn't look that bad. Like, I've seen worse in terms of, like, feathering and stuff. Let's see what the back looks like. The wet pen's less than desirable, but that's usually the case. These two aren't bad, so I guess, like, if you want to use something fun on shitty paper, I don't know. And then before I go clean things, because that's pretty much done, I want to do a quick side-by-side comparison, at least on the Rhodia, because that's the easiest for the whole legibility thing, and my pencil just fell down. So, like, it's actually better on Rhodia, the reading thing. So that might have been a cream paper thing, where this one was harder to read than this one. They're both fairly legible, but, like, the swabs look really close. It's like you could tell this one's darker, but other than that, it's like, oh yeah, right. In writing, you can definitely see the orange a little bit more in this, so it's got that orange bent. Versus if you just want like a yellow, then this Ackerman Dutch Masters will do it for you. Like I said last week, this guy only comes in 120 milliliter bottles. So if you want the yellow, I'm assuming you don't want 120 milliliters, buy a bottle, split it with a friend. Like maybe like 3 friends, so you each have 30 milliliters of it. Yeah, it's a great yellow though. Glad I have a sample. And yeah, it still might come in through as vibrant, but like you can definitely tell this has orange in it. That actually, where's my Sailor Apricot? I actually want to compare that now. That was a while ago. Getting there. That's Fire and Fire, so we're almost there. Aha! So if we're comparing the Monteverde Mango Mousse to Sailor Apricot, it's like if you took Sailor Apricot like a touch more yellow. Like if the Ackerman Dutch Masters and Sailor Apricot had baby, it would be the Monteverde Mango Mousse. Okay. Stuff all over the place. Okay, wait, sorry. I just like upended all my stuff. Okay, so now I'm gonna empty these. You can tell where the center of my camera is based off of when I move the vial, what's centered. It's fun times. Because no, it's not exactly centered. Just because of the field of view is weird. Just because of how my desk's arranged. Actually, I wonder if I put it where the field of view is centered, how would that affect me? Yeah, that's just in the way. And now I got some on the ground. This is what I get for trying to get a cool shot. Luckily, this is not a precious. This is a fairly easily accessible ink. So the fact that I spilled some is not a big deal. Unlike that one time, I spilled some of Rouge d'Orient before it was available in the US. That was tragic. Okay, I'm gonna go clean these, and I'll be back like 10-15 minutes. Go get yourself a drink or something. blanket, baby. There you are.
that is like, yeah. For what? So these niggas spend a couple of bands on you and disrespect you anyway and cheat on you anyway and still not take care of their baby? Right. You have to remind yourself, like, women or people, whoever, like, you can get.
Hello, 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 I'm back. Oh, what I should have done was pick out a new article, but that's okay. I know what one I want to do, because this article on Marvel is not very long. There's just a little snippet. We're basically at the end of it. Hello, hello. Okay. Let's get everything out. Okie dokie. Yay, cleaning pens. There's like still residual yellow stuff in there for some reason. Because this came out clear when I did the rinse. I just didn't notice that till now. There we go. Feed. Nib. Done. Erg. Sort of gonna put that over to the side because I'm gonna use it shortly. Okay. So let's put. I got a new box because I had maxed out. I was like, I'm gonna use all my samples and like gave samples away and then acquired a bunch of new samples. So another box is needed. I now fill a full top layer of one of those 3-layer carts from IKEA, though mine's from Michael's, not from IKEA. So Cocoa Shimmer is in box 2. This is largely the Shimmer box because it has most of the Diamine Shimmer inks in there. You gotta shake it like the dickens because it's a Shimmer ink that's been sitting around for a long time. There we are. That's one thing about I've played violin since I was 8, and being able to move my wrist really fast like that comes from violin. Okay, so we've got a full Goulet sample. So it shouldn't be that much pain in the butt to eat, or to eat. Don't drink the ink, folks. To fill. So what's going to be a temporary thing? That the samples are organized? Mine are organized in that they're in boxes and not like in baggies for the most part. There are some samples I have that are in baggies, but that's because they're in non-standard vials. So it's just like in a baggie. Ah. Yeah, the only way they're organized, like there's not actually any organization to them within the boxes. What I do is once I put it in there, I write which box it is, what row column it is on the swap card so I can find it later. The actual organization, the fact that box 2 happens to be sparkle inks is just the order I bought them in. Like, basically, Diamine came out with the first round of sparkle inks and then the second round of sparkle inks, and that's where they landed. Actually, no, you know what? I did intentionally organize that as the sparkle box. Because me buying all those sparkle inks predates me having the boxes. At one point, my boxes were organized as I've tried this, sparkle inks, haven't tried this yet. And then that idea went to shit real quickly. But initially when I put them in the boxes, that was the organization. Now it's just, let's put them where there's space. And then write it down on a card later so I can find them. And even the writing it down on a card didn't happen until much later because I just, like, I would be like, what do I want to ink? Look at my swabs. And then be like, cool, let me go find it. And it would take me like 10 minutes to find the damn ink, even though it was in a box. So that's when I started the box number column row system. Because I don't just like go through digging out samples, be like, this one sounds good. Like I look at the swabs because I very much organize my inking by color. I'm not like Jessie or something. Jessie has like a whole system that's very impressive. Okay. Yeah, mainly my organization is just boxes so they're not rolling around loose. Yeah, it's just one day, like Jessie's described her ink organization before, but I'd love to like go to her house and witness it because it just seems so impressive. I should probably show the ink swab again just for reference because I do timestamp. It makes it easy, honestly, it makes it easier to timestamp these things because I look for when I'm shuffling through ink cards. There it is. And it's actually pretty similar. I think Diamine Cocoa Shimmer came out before Karub de Shipra. Like this came out like I really liked this, and then like a year later, 6 months later, Girbon announced this. So they're very similar. So take that what you will. The Karub de Shipra is a smidge more red, but they're very close. You've at least seen her Rolodex of swatches, which that seems like magical. Like, I've got these two colorings. Like, despite the fact that I review inks, I actually don't like have that many in the grand scheme of things. Like, I'm not even in the top 50 on FPC.ink. I just decided to do this, and that's like I said, it's personal. This is more a personal project that I happen to post publicly, so the records are out there. But yeah, no, Jessie, man, it's just impressive. This seems to flow really well so far. Because like I said, normally this one doesn't like the shimmer inks as much. This is really good shading. And like the Diamine inks are very blingy. Just like, it really isn't coming across how shiny these are. There we are. Yeah, this one has really good flow. Now, granted, I was like, maybe, like the last two shimmer inks I did, like I'm thinking maybe it was affected by like the fact that I did several in a row and there was like clogging in the feed or something. But it was also an orange and a light green, which those do tend to be drier colors. Like the dyes, I think, are legit drier. Versus browns can be really wet, I've found. Just in general, not just Diamine. So it might have been that. It might just be this is legitimately a wetter ink. Yeah, for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, but this pen, the Dry Writer, really likes depositing like a high concentration of shimmer on the page, versus this one, the regular writer, leaves it a little bit more spread out, and then this one then goes back and deposits a high amount of shimmer on the page. I don't know. Aqua? She's in the blanket behind me, but she's not out, so I don't know what's happening there. I wonder if when I fill this dry pen, if like the glitter gets stuck in the feed on the way up. Actually, I could check this. Do I see any glitter? I don't actually see any glitter, no, settling there. So maybe it does get all stuck in the feed. That's why it clogs. And again, I can't really see glitter in this. I can kind of see glitter in this. This might not be the best ink to test this theory. Custom hemisphere. Okay, good to know that's not just me. Though you say Dry Writer, a number 5 nib, and I'm like, I like my tiny nibs. Yeah, this is really pretty. Like I said, this is very similar to the Carib de Chypre, but it's a touch less red. And honestly, that touch is enough. I'm very on Carib de Chypre, but I really like this shade of brown and the gold that goes with it. So I was kind of disappointed when Carib de Chypre came out because I was like, oh yes, a Giarbone ink that's brown with gold sparkle, that's right up my alley. And the shade of brown I was on. Huh. Interesting. I'm not big on the SIGs because I like my italics crisp, and the SIGs do the opposite of that. I like them crisp and toothy. Yeah, the SIGs aren't for me. A lot of people like them. They're not my speed. What am I doing? Jeez, I'm writing with my regular writer at the dry spot. My brain just like, it hit, I don't know, like it's almost 7. It's hit that time. It's just like, nope, brain done. Okay. Yeah, this is just very, very bling. Like, bling. Someone tag Winston. Huh, apparently. So now I'm copying a much less fun article about there was a shooting at one of the local universities at like their like welcome back to school block party thing. No one died, 4 people got hurt, and one of them was apparently a decorated volleyball player. Okay. Okay, yeah, the shading on this is real pretty, in addition to it being very bling. Yeah, normally I am a Giarbon Sparkle ink person. I own 3 bottles of it. But this, I do like some of the Diamines better. Like I prefer the Diamine Purple Sparkle ink, the Purple Pizzazz, to the Giarbon one. I like the shade of purple better, and I prefer Gold Sparkle, and then I prefer this to the Giarbon Sparkle Brown, because just the shade of brown is better for me. Like this better. Okay, where's the Rhodia? There's the Rhodia. Come here, Rhodia. Unearth you from the other pads. Yeah, this is just like, let's dump all the sparkle on the page. Versus the Waterman's a little bit more regulated in how it does that. Yeah, it's like, would you like some bling with your ink? It's just like, okay, shiny, shiny. I'm curious to see, because most of the Giarbon inks have pretty decent performance on shitty paper, especially Rouge Hematite. Rouge Hematite is very, very good performer on chip paper. It's weird. Rouge Hematite is also a weird ink. Like, in theory, it's red with gold sparkles, but the combination of that red ink and those sparkles make it sheen like green, like crazy. Rouge Hematite just does its own thing. Like, it's its own category. I've actually been thinking of like, eventually once I get through all my inks in like a year, probably doing like paper reviews and doing it similarly where I have like, I'll use these same standard pens, but also want to use 3 standard inks. And I want to use a fabulous ink, like something with sparkle, something with sheen, something with shading, because like if you can't, like if the paper sucks the life out of that, then you know it's like, don't use this for your fabulous inks. And I was thinking Emerald of Chavour because that's a good one, but Rouge Hematite's also a good one. So I might have to do some testing to see like which one I want to do, because basically the point of it will be to show off like all the fun properties, like does it shine, does it sheen, and Emerald of Chavour does those things, but so does Rouge Hematite. But Rouge Hematite does it so oddly, I'm not sure it's a good like tester like for those properties. So we'll see. If anyone has any opinions, because like I've been knocking that back and forth. I know which one I'm doing for my shit ink. That's gonna be Noodler Suffragist Carmine. Such a great color, but it eats through everything except Tomoe River. It's not a good ink. So if it holds up to the Suffragist Carmine, it's a good paper. So I'm looking for the converse of that, where if it manages to make this ink not look good, then it's a bad paper. Because it's it's an ink that's very easy to look good, look amazing. So if it sucks the life out of it, it's shit. So I'm, like I said, between Emerald Chivor and Rouge Hematite. Where was I in this article? It appears. And then of course I'm going to do a standard one. Like some sort of normal ink. I'm thinking like, for some reason I'm thinking like maybe like Aurora Blue Black or like Waterman Tender Purple. Something that's like just like a normal ink that behaves well. And something that's like a benchmark that maybe a lot of people have. I don't really want to do Waterman Serenity Blue because I think that ink is boring. And working with that week after week would drive me nuts. Yeah, it's bad. I had not encountered a worse ink until the Andoryllium inks. And they managed to be worse than Suffragist Carmine because Suffragist Carmine at least does not feather and bleed on Tomoe River or coloring cards. It behaves on that. Unlike those cephalopod inks. But yeah, if you want to go over to my fpc.ink and look at my bottles, something that you would recommend is just like a bog standard ink. That's at least a fun color to include in the reviews. Also something that's not limited. Like I'm not going to do dark lilac because then I'm just going to burn through all my dark lilac. I want something that I can like get again. That's why I'm thinking like Tender Purple. That seems safe. Or maybe even like one of the Roshizukus or something. Like, I don't know. Kujaku, Yamabudo. Yamabudo would be good. Yamabudo has the sheen. So it's like almost overkill. I don't know. Oh, Duster Blue Denim maybe. That might be a good one. The thing is, my bottle of Epinard is original Epinard. I could buy another bottle of new Epinard, but that's one I'm a little protective of. Oh, speaking of sailor inks, a fun one might be Rikucha. That might be a what color is Rikucha on this paper test. That also could get expensive because one, my bottle Rikucha is fairly low, and that means I would have to buy the small bottles that are the same price because sailor. Like I said, I'll think about it. It's not gonna be for like a year or so anyway, because there's no way I'm doing ink reviews and paper reviews simultaneously. I need to just do one thing. So there's a while. Okay. This is like actually pretty decent behavior again on the like shitty paper side. Like this might be an ink to use on your fun shitty paper. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's like The problem with my ink collection in terms of figuring this out is that I tend to lean towards the wild and crazy because I've never worked anywhere that has required me to like have conservative ink. Though I guess like I do have a bottle of Noodler's Black, but that's again would make me sad to use it week after week. Plus that's like a very specific circumstance. So I also want to like do diversity of ink brands. Like maybe like KWC Honey or something. I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna think about it. I'm leaning a little bit towards the Roshizukus or maybe something Robert Oster. I'm looking over there because that's where my inks bottles are. Maybe I just do, oh, this is a good idea. I could do one of the Diamines because those are cheap and a lot of people have them. I like Oxblood or Steel Blue. Ancient Copper, maybe not. Kujaku's, well, no, not Kujaku. I was thinking of Kontaki. Kujaku's good. But yeah, I think maybe one of the Diamines. I don't know why, like, Diamine, like, everyone has Diamine Oxblood because it's such a good red. That might be a good one. I haven't actually done the review of that, though. I have no idea how that behaves. I actually haven't inked it up in a while, but that one I remember is like, behaves fine, looks good, just like bog standard ink. And like Steel Blue's fun, but and I have a lot of things, and that would be a good blue, because people like blue. I don't know. I'll think about it. Now Aqua's out of the box. You want to say hi, Aqua? Not out of the box, out of the blanket. It's an Aqua. She's very cute. Say hi to the camera. Boop. 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 You hit me at a good time, Aqua, because I was just about to end anyway. So you can monopolize the camera. it dance time? I'm going to move a little bit more in frame. There we are. No, okay. Ow, what is it? She's very grumpy. Okay, thank you for joining me. I'm going to go clean pens. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Say bye, Akiwa. Say bye-bye. Chirp into the mic. Okay. Bye.